The forest at night is a wondrous and beautiful place, especially if you can spend that time around a warm campfire with some good friends and some good wine as well. You spent all day on the road, transporting the latest batch of prison laborers to the construction site. It's been a long journey, but you should arrive tomorrow, and are enjoying a few drinks before turning in for the night. You and your men will do one last check before you finally head off to get some sleep. Inspect the prisoners, ensuring they are all shackled and accounted for, when you notice something strange off to the side of the camp. You find several sets of broken shackles, and no sign of the prisoners they should be attached to. How long ago did they escape? Which way did they go? There is no way for you to know. But there are two things you do know. Number one, the punishment for losing prisoners under your watch is death. And the second thing you know, we are so screwed. Welcome to Rogue Records, where we invite you to sit back, relax, have a drink if you're of age, and listen to the true tale of history's drunken emperor. The first imperial dynasty in China's history was the Qin Empire, so named after the homeland of its first emperor. It was founded in 221 BC, when the armies of Qin succeeded in conquering all of their neighbor states, bringing all nations under one banner. The emperor was born Ying Zhang, but after ascending to emperor, he changed his name to Qin Shi Huangdi. His regime was repressive and staunchly against the previous ideology of Confucianism, which considered humans to be moral by nature and emphasized the family and social harmony. His philosophy considered humans to be evil creatures that required harsh correction from an authoritarian ruler, basically a system which justified his own tyranny. He formalized this ideology and banned all others.
I have collected all the writings of the Empire, and burnt those which were of no use.
The emperor's ruthless treatment of his subjects and his disdain for their traditional values sow the seeds of his empire's downfall. But to start properly, we have to go back a little further, to around 250 BC, when the emperor himself was still a boy. And it is here, in a rural farming community named Zhongyang, in the state of Chu, that we find our story. The sun rises over Pei County, revealing a beautiful land filled with streams and grasslands where the farmers tend their crops. It is here that we first meet a young boy that has just woken up and is reluctantly about to start his daily chores. Lu Bang was born into a peasant family, and little is known about his parents. Their names are lost to history. But we do know that young Bang was boisterous, generous with what little he had, and slow to anger. All good qualities. We also know that he had little interest in working hard, a less desirable quality that would follow him into his teenage years. Bang's aversion to work married with a love of alcohol, resulting in an adolescence that led him to rely on his brother for food and shelter, and for his father to label him the little rascal, and not in a cute way. As he grew into a man, his alcoholism grew as well, leading to numerous minor run-ins with the law. Nothing major, but the sort of thing you would expect from a town drunk. In 221 BC, Qin troops arrive in Chu, and bring with them a harsh and unforgiving style of law and order. Even small infractions that were considered little more than a nuisance before will now have severe consequences for anyone unlucky enough to be caught. This represented a dangerous turn of events for Lu Bang. But luckily for him, his two friends, Zhao He and Cao Shen, had already become local officials. So they were able to both hide Bang's previous offenses and secure him a position in the new government that would partially shield him from trouble given his love of drink. And so, the town drunk became the town sheriff. I guess it's true what they say. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yes, I am drunk. So what? You're going to call the sheriff? I am the sheriff! Ha ha!
Lu Bang served as a law enforcement official of the Qin Empire for about 10 years, when the emperor's death would come to imperil his life as well. After having established his empire, the emperor had become obsessed with immortality and sought out charlatans, I mean sorcerers, that could help. One such helpful person told the emperor that a special potion made of mercury would grant him everlasting life.
Let me get this straight. You want me to drink liquid metal for my health? Sounds legit and totally not made up. Let's do it.
And for all you kids out there watching at home, no, drinking mercury does not grant everlasting life. It's poison. And Emperor Dum Dum died soon after. His obsession with everlasting life led him to erect a monument to himself that would last forever. A gigantic tomb carved into a mountain complete with thousands of statue protectors and a river of flowing mercury, because apparently he hadn't had enough of that already. Such a monumental structure would need a lot of workers to build it, and thanks to all of Qin's unpopular laws and unusually harsh punishments, there were plenty of workers to be had. Prisoners were conscripted into working on the tomb, a job that was essentially a death penalty due to the harsh working conditions and because all the workers would be sealed inside to prevent the tomb's location from leaking, although the workers weren't told that part. Prisoners were summoned from prisons in every part of the empire, including Pei County in Chu, which is how Lu Bang found himself staring at empty shackles in the dead of night. We are so screwed. Bang knew that he couldn't take the prisoners to the tomb now. He and his men would be killed, and there was no part of the empire where they would be safe. So Lu Bang made the only decision he could.
You prisoners, do you want to live? Do you want to be free? Then pledge yourselves to me and I will release you. We will band together against the Qin.
The prisoners didn't have much choice, and they had seen that Bang was a good leader, so they quickly agreed, and the two groups, prisoners and guards, became outlaws together. Outlaws need a hideout. That is the rule, after all. Somewhere remote, but still close enough to Bang's friends so he could get help if necessary. That meant someplace near Pei County, so they headed east into Chu territory. Since they also needed somewhere it would be easy to hide and defend if it came to that, Lu Bang led the men to a little-known location on Mangdong Mountain, in the eastern part of Chu. The men set up camp on the mountain and began to ponder their options. They needed food and shelter, and Lu Bang definitely needed wine. But they had no money, couldn't get jobs, because of the whole execution thing. So they would have to resort to banditry. The only people worth stealing from were the nobility and wealthy merchants. Essentially anyone with high connections among the Qin. And since the Qin wanted them dead anyway, it wouldn't be like they were making any new enemies. So they began robbing Qin-backed nobility and merchants, stealing all they could. All this money coming in, they would need to spend it on something. So Bang spent the money buying food and clothes from local farmers and markets, building a good reputation with the peasants who also hated the Qin and their rich underlings. But of course, Bang also made sure to spend his spoils on booze-fueled parties with the men. This served to endear him to not only his men, but the peasantry as well. He became known as a fun-loving general of the people and an enemy of the Qin. It turns out that being a Robin Hood-style steal from the rich oppressors and buy rounds of drinks for the peasants kind of a dude can make you pretty popular. So many peasants, with few other options under the Qin's iron heel, came to Mount Mangdong to join Lu Bang. Lu Bang's group became so popular that before he knew it, he was in charge of one of the largest standing armies in all of Chu. A fact that did not go unnoticed by other groups that were also unhappy with the Qin Empire's rule. The Zhang family were Chu nobles that were organizing a rebellion against the Qin Empire. They had helped raise their own emperor of Chu in opposition to the son of Qin Shi Huangdi. They were led by Jiang Liang, the son of a former general of Chu and the real power behind the Chu emperor. Liang was ambitious but loyal. Zhang Bo, Liang's brother was a great military strategist and considered by all to be an honorable man. And then there was Zhang Yu, Liang's nephew, who was neither loyal nor honorable, but he was extremely ambitious.
Liu Bang, you've developed quite a reputation for yourself, not to mention an army. Join us, and we will cast off these Qin jerk faces and move forward with the free and strong Chu nation.
Bang didn't want to live his entire life looking over his shoulder for Qin soldiers, so he decided to support Liang and help overthrow the empire. Jiang Liang and his combined forces would face the Qin at the Battle of Dingtao in 208 BC. Zhang forces, bolstered by Liu Bang and his men, were prepared for war. They would be facing Qin's leading general, a man named Zhang Han, who had just crushed several other rebellions in neighboring states. He would prove to be a clever strategist, and the kind of man that could snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. The battle between Chu and the Empire raged on, and the conflagration claimed the lives of thousands of soldiers on both sides of the struggle. As time went on, it became clear that the Chu forces were winning, and Zhang Han gave the order to retreat from the field. But our boy Bang was having none of that, so he, along with Zhang Yu, led their men in pursuit of Zhang Han's retreating army. This was a tactical mistake on their part, as it left Liang without allies.
Hey look, some peasants, dressed in rags, are coming this way. Maybe they need my help. Hello there, peasants. What's up? What's with the knives? Uh-oh.
Even though the Qin were in retreat, Zhang Han had sent a small group of highly trained assassins to infiltrate Liang's forces disguised as refugees dressed in rags. The ploy worked, and Zhang Liang was killed. You see, victory from the jaws of defeat. Even though Liang was killed, the Chu forces were steadily gaining ground against the Qin. And Emperor Yi of Chu, you know, that guy that was Liang's puppet, issued a new decree. Whoever managed to finally defeat the Qin by taking their capital first would be granted Guanzhong, an enormous territory pretty much covering the entire western part of the Qin Empire. And so the race was on to defeat the Qin. The two contestants were Liu Bang and Zhang Yu. The happy drunk Robin Hood versus the ruthless warrior. Only one can win, and the loser, well, let's just say you better not lose. And in some ways the race wasn't fair. Zhang Yu was tasked with defeating Zhang Han and the retreating Qin army, which took him north into the state of Wei for a decisive battle at the town of Julu. However, Liu Bang was tasked with liberating Guanzhou while the army was busy with Zhang Yu, making it far more likely that Bang would win the race. And that is precisely what happened. Liu Bang arrived at Zhanyang, capital city of Qin, and approached the front gate with his army. The gates were closed, and he was not looking forward to having to siege the city. But the people of Zhanyang had heard tales of the peasant general. He was fair and amiable, and a lot more fun than the Qin Empire. So they simply opened the gates and let Liu Bang and his army walk in. Once inside, Bang quickly met with city leaders and instituted a full reversal of Qin's harsh laws and disproportionate punishments. He allowed the people freedom to study whatever philosophy or religion they chose for themselves. In particular, he reinstated Confucianism, which I guess you can say that people sorta liked. Liu Bang was a popular ruler who was both fair and friendly with the locals. He kept good order in the city, as long as you don't count him and his men being drunk a fair amount of the time. As long as he buys a few rounds for the townsfolk, no one seemed to mind. But all good things must come to an end. You see, Yu had defeated the last of the Qin armies and had now come to Zhanyang only to find Bang already in charge. To say he was upset would be an understatement, and he hatched a plot to kill Liu Bang and take over himself. So Zhang Yu went to see Liu Bang and invite him into a trap.
Lu Bang, so good to see you again. I'm glad to see that you were able to take the city so easily. Why, you didn't even have to fight like the rest of us.
Yes, it was very fortunate, and I am also glad to hear that you defeated Zhang Han. That's quite an accomplishment.
Why are there petals falling all around you?
I'm not sure. This room just does that. Honestly, it's a pain.
Well, anyway, I wanted to invite you to a feast I'm holding in your honor at my camp.
Will there be wine?
What? Oh, yes, of course. Red wine, white wine, rice wine. Any kind of wine you want. You will be coming, yes?
Of course. Sounds like fun.
Excellent.
What are we laughing about? In 206 BC, Lu Bang attended the event that is now known as the Feast of the Hong Gate, at the direct invite of Zhang Yu. During the feast, Zhang Yu was intending to have one of his men perform a sword dance, a kind of martial arts demonstration with a sword as entertainment, a demonstration ending in a regrettable accident for Lu Bang. It was a simple plan, but certainly not an honorable one, given that Bang was an invited guest. It was this kind of underhanded, dirty play that didn't sit well with Zhang Bo, a person to whom honor meant a great deal. He saw Lu Bang as a trusted ally, and wasn't going to simply sit back and watch him be murdered in such a low way. You do know he's planning to kill you here tonight, right? What? Why? You stole his thunder. After beating Zhang Han, he thinks he should rule Guanzhou. You're in the way. You need to find a way out of here. Don't worry. I have a genius strategy for escaping close situations like this one. My apologies, everyone. I have to go to the little general's room. Please excuse me. Lu Bang snuck out of the latrine and stole a horse. He raced back to his own encampment, where he moved his army out of Jianyang, ceding the city to Yu. He had no choice, really. Yu's forces outnumbered his own 4-1, so retreat was his only viable option. With Bang gone, Zhang Yu sacked the city, burned the palace to the ground. If there was ever any doubt about what kind of ruler Yu would be, there wasn't anymore. People everywhere, both peasant and noble, didn't want Yu to be the new emperor. But for now, Zhang Yu named himself King of Chu and split the former Qin Empire into 18 separate kingdoms, gifting them as he saw fit. States that were supposed to go to Lu Bang were instead granted to former Qin generals. A slap in the face to Bang. As for Bang himself, Zhang Yu named him King of Han and granted him the territory by that same name, which was the land where they sent exiled prisoners. Basically, it was a punch in the gut to go along with his slap in the face. And Yu continued making enemies with his capricious decisions and ruthless treatment of the subjects. So much so that a rebellion against him started in the state of Qi almost immediately. But while Zhang Yu was busy making enemies, Bang made friends and brought multiple nations against Zhang Yu. This coalition finally defeated Zhang Yu at the Battle of Gexia in 203 BC. Zhang Yu, whose dreams of conquest died on that battlefield, took his own life rather than surrender. With Zhang Yu dead and all other nations supporting him, Lu Bang, King of Han, became emperor. He changed his name to Gao Zhu and founded the Han Dynasty, which lasted for over 400 years. And Lu Bang, despite now being Emperor Gao Zhu, still liked to drink with his men. If you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. I promise to get back to you as soon as I can.